Hey guys, it's Emily, aka Sparky, from Snark and Spark. I promise I will eventually explain that nickname, but not today. Uh, so it's been 2 weeks since I've posted. Yeah, and I've got notes here because I haven't posted in a while. I want to share everything, but I don't want to take forever. But trying, I have a headset on today. My husband thought my audio quality could be better, so I am trying to use my headset with a mic to see if that helps. I am filming while my son is upstairs playing games and my dogs are asleep in the other room, so fingers crossed. But where'd I go? Why wasn't I doing stitchy stuff? The long and the short of it is I got very, very, very sick. I went and got tested for COVID. It came back negative. I called my doctor, and based off of the symptoms that I was exhibiting, we believed that I had pneumonia. So I decided to take a little bit of a physical break to focus on taking care of myself and my health. I was very weak, I was very tired, I was coughing a lot, and I really just needed to focus on taking care of me. So that's what I did. But I'm feeling a lot better now. I still have a little bit of a cough, but I'm feeling good, so I wanted to come back and do a little video in an effort to not make this be incredibly long. Like I said, I've got notes. So, moving right along, let's talk about School of Magical Stitches. So, obviously, I did the homework prompts from last week, and we have a new one this week. I just didn't share them with you. So yesterday, because it is, last week, because it was the start of December, we got to start a brand new month, which is, I'm hitting what's next to me, a brand new month, which is a brand new book. We have new monthly challenges for reading and stitching, and we get to start with new homework prompts. So the first week we basically got reintroduced to the Kingdom Keepers. Apparently some time has passed. I don't have the book yet. Again, the book is book 7 of the Kingdom Keepers series, and it is called The Insider by Ridley Pearson. I have not yet gotten my copy, so all I know of what's happening in the book is based off of the prompts. So from week 1, we had 5 that were all worth 200 stitches, 300 penalty. It was stitch on a whip that is at least 3 years old. I had to do penalty for that because I really picked up stitching last summer, like picked it up again. So I don't have anything that's that old. To stitch on a whip that could be a theme for prom. I ended up not having time to do this one. Again, I stitched, but I really focused on just taking care of me, so didn't get to that one. Number 3, stitch on a whip that has bugs, spiders, or other creepy things you find in a cave. I worked on my dragonfly piece because it is a bug. Mr. Disney created a crypt. Stitch on a whip that has a treasure, please explain. I also used my dragonfly for that because it literally calls for Mill Hill treasures. So I went very, very literal. I'm sure you could. I saw people who were like, I'm doing my bookshelf because books are treasures to me, or you could do something about family because you treasure your family. I took the easy way out, I think, and I took it very, very literally and said that my whip has treasures because it called for treasures. And then finally, stitch on a whip that has a chicken, and I did penalty on that because I don't have any chickens. So that was last week. This week, and I'm not showing my whips yet. I will, but I'm not going to show them until I get into the semi-sane stitchers group because I'm in a particular game that they're doing, and I pretty much based what I used for my homework on what I got, what was picked or chosen in semi-sane. So I will be showing all my progress over there. So this week for School of Magical Stitches, we only have 2 tasks, but that means the stitch count is really, really high for both of those. Each week it'll equal 1,000. So because there's only two, they're both worth 500, and a penalty is 750. Because penalties, you take the stitch count, and then you have it, and you add the stitch count plus its half. So 500 divided by 2 is 250. 500 plus 250 is 750. So one, stitch on a whip with an animal from the feline family. Any sort of cat, house cat, wild cat, anything like that. I will be doing a penalty because I believe I don't have any pieces that have felines on them, which is fine. Number two, stitch on a whip that is a secret, and she gave examples. It could be a mystery sal where, parts are released every so often, but you don't know what's coming, or it could be a gift for someone and you're keeping it a secret. I will more than likely actually get to do this prompt because the majority of my whips are gifts, and they are secret, so, which is fine. I have a few that are for me, but the majority of the things I stitch actually are gifts, and people don't know that I'm stitching them. So it just kind of depends on what I roll for. I'm in Whip Wranglers, and I will explain that when I get there. But really, so what I choose to stitch on for School of Magical Stitches is really coming down to what happens over in Semi-Stain. So there's that. I did ask in School of Magical Stitches because I had a question about penalty stitches. Because I am trying to work on multiple whips all at the same time, I asked if all of the penalty stitches had to be completed on one whip, or if we were allowed to break those stitches if we could break those stitches across multiple whips as long as it still equals the total number of needed penalty stitches. And the answer is yes, you can break them apart. So for me, the example I have is that I still need 200 stitches on my dragonfly piece, so I'm doing my first 200 penalty stitches on the dragonfly piece, and then I will switch over to what comes next. Okay, we're done with there. Now let's talk about the monthly prompts. The monthly stitching prompt is another spell out challenge, and for our final one we are spelling out Kingdom Keepers. KINGDOM KEEPERS. I almost tried to put in another 2 E's. 100 stitches, it's 1 point, 14 letters, that's 1400 stitches. If you use one word, if you use one project for one word, you'll earn an extra 1,000 stitches. But if you use one project for the whole thing, for both words, then you'll earn a total of 3,000 bonus stitches. But each letter has to be different. So because there's so many E's, like you can't say eyes on my person if there's only one person, and then you say for the next one you go eyes on my person. Like, no, it has to be something different. Just so you know, eyes, ears, elbows. I should have done this. And then the movie stitching, it says we finished going around the world. We finished our world showcase, so we get to pick any Disney movie we want. And then, same thing, show, start and stop. I don't know what I'm going to pick yet. I haven't decided. I think it'll just really depend on what strikes my fancy and what movie my family wants to watch. So, with it being Christmas time, my husband definitely wants to watch a lot more Christmas movies and do things as a family. So, we'll probably find a Disney Christmas movie and I will watch that and use that because I'm going to be doing it anyways. So that's December stitching. December reading is 5 tasks? Yes. So she's kind of mixing things up, which I think is a trial run for how she wants to do things next year, which I'm really excited about, and I do like it. She's done a mix of giving us prompts related to the book, but then also giving us genres, and so we just have to pick something that fits that genre. And I like both of that. I really do like this mix of it. So, 1, Philby is often called a professor. Read a book with a professor in it. to The Kingdom Keepers are now battling in Disneyland in California, so read a book set in California. So those two are prompts that coincide with the book. Then the next three is because there's no alternate book, so we need to read a fantasy book, a mystery book, and a young adult book. So they're just genres, but obviously they do still relate to the book because the Kingdom Keeper series is a young adult series. It is a fantasy. You could say there are mystery elements to it. So I really, really like that. And if you complete all 5 of the reading tasks this month, we'll get an extra 1,000 bonus stitches for the team events, which is really nice. I did not finish reading hardly anything in November, which is really disappointing. But I've got quite a bit of reading already kind of going on this year, or this month started. So like I am working on, I don't have a book set in California yet, so I'm still working on that. Okay. This is my, like, for fun. I mentioned I am trying to work through all of Stephen King's bibliography, and that I was really struggling to find some of his older stuff, particularly one book that is no longer in print because he requested that it no longer be in print, but it is still found in this particular collection, and that is called Rage. So this is 4 in 1: Rage, The Long Walk, Road Work, and The Running Man. I've already done The Long Walk, but I'm working on Rage, and then I will work on these two. But I really just borrowed this for Rage, and I am almost done with it. It's only 131 pages, and I'm on page 116, so I will more than likely finish that today. When I take my reading time. Hey, the mailman's just drove by. I have a package. This is my young adult book. I am reading this, The Snow Fell 3 Graves Deep. It is Voices from the Donner Party, so it is like a really fascinating retelling of the Donner Party, and it's told from different perspectives. And so, like, at the beginning, it almost... That's a map. It does like a cast of characters, like a play. And so it has, so like the first character is Hunger, the narrator. We have Patty Reed, the angel, Tamzine Donner, the scholar, and like so on. So it's like a play, and then each character like Hunger started this very first prologue, and it's like Hunger is speaking, and then, you know, Hunger speaks some more, but then, like, you know, further up ahead, James Reed, the aristocrat, and like this is his like monologue. I'm only a few pages in. I'm only like 17 pages in, but it's really good. The fantasy book is, again, 3 Dark Crowns. I'm really trying to read this book. It's good. It really is good. I don't know what is stopping me. There's like a mental block when it comes to this book, and I don't know. But I'm trying. I just started listening to Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and I know that you could argue it's not a mystery, or it is a mystery, or it's a romance, or whatever. I found it from the podcast Phoebe Reads a Mystery with Phoebe Judge from Criminal, and This Is Love. Love those podcasts. Go listen to those podcasts. But she is reading it. The whole point of that podcast is that she reads a chapter of a mystery every single day, especially while we are all in quarantine. So I'm counting it as a mystery, and so I am listening to Jane Eyre, and that's going to be my mystery. I'm on chapter 7, chapter 8. Sorry, it's on my phone. Eisenhower hears the mailman, and so he's being a stereotypical dog and barking at the mailman. Fantasy, mystery, adult, covered those. A book with a professor in it. I am also listening to the audiobook Cujo by Stephen King. I like to have a different So, like, Cujo, I have that on CD, and that plays in my car, and I listen to it when I'm at work. I have Jane Eyre because it's a podcast. I have it on my phone, and so I listen to that when I'm stitching or when I'm doing chores around the house. Um, I'm also listening to a children's novel with my son. We are listening to The Wild Robot by, I don't recall who wrote it. I'm completely blanking. But we are also listening to The Wild Robot. It's very cute. It's very, very sweet. It won the Children's Book Award here in Iowa last year, 2 years ago. I'm really enjoying it. It's very, very good, and it's a really nice novel to listen to with my son. So we're enjoying that. But oh yeah, sorry. I'm listening to Cujo because I want to, but it does fit. There is a character in the novel that is a professor, so I'm using that. But again, I don't have a book set in California. I'm gonna have to find one. I don't know. So there's that. Do you hear my mailman? So let's talk about Simi Sane. I'm doing really good with time because I don't want this video to be incredibly long. So there's a lot of events going on in December, and I'm going to list all of them, but I'm only really going to explain the ones that I'm participating in. Like, they all started on December 1st, like, around the world. This time is North Pole. I'm not doing around the world, but it is available if you want to do it, but that is not for me. Just like the alphabet soup, the letters are Y and Z. I will not be doing the alphabet soup, but those are the letters, and it's the pattern or the designer. I am also not participating in Choose My Whip for December. It is a month-long thing where you post 2 or 3 pictures of your current whips, and then people vote on which one they want you to work on, like which one is their favorite, and then you work on that for a week, and so on. So like every week you then post different photos. I'm not doing that because I have other plans, and that just would complicate things. I am gonna try and do this or that because the theme is theater or cinema. And I'm going to use my Harry Potter piece. I'm working on the Letters from Hogwarts Sal from Cunning Cross Stitch that went through this year. I never started it. I should have started it a long time ago, but I never got around to it. And now I'm doing 2 of them. So, yay! One is a gift for myself. I'm gonna have it for me personally, but I am making the other one for my sister, who is expecting her first child, and I am making that for her to put into the nursery. And so and my sister is a huge Harry Potter fan, and the nursery is Harry Potter themed, and blah 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 blah. And so I've been slowly asking questions to make this piece custom to her instead of me just making all of the decisions. And she thinks we're just talking about Harry Potter, so it's fine and it works. But I have some plans for that, and I'm really excited. So for this or that, obviously that's cinema because Harry Potter is a movie, even though it was based off a book. But I'm going to do that. I am going to try and also do the Christmas and Winter Sal. It's non-counting, but it's there's 5 prompts, and you pick one each week and work on it. You're supposed to pick 3 and try and work on 3 through the month. And it's a whip with snow, a whip with a Christmas theme, a whip that reminds you of your childhood Christmases, a whip with a Christmas song, and a whip with a winter sport, and then a whip with something that you can't wait to do when it all melts. I'm only gonna try and do this if it works, because I have a couple Christmas themed pieces, obviously, but I'm not gonna use those unless I roll them and get to them, which leads me to the last and final game and what I keep talking about, whip wranglers. I don't know why I'm doing this. I think I'm insane, which is the point. But I love the concept of this game. And the whole point is Santa's elves have been a little naughty and are running around and not doing their work. And so we need to catch them by working on our whips. Um, Ideally, you would have 20 different whips. I don't, so I picked 10 and I just repeated them. So I will tell you the 10 I picked since I only have 10. So I have my Australian Dragon, which is the free piece from the Mirabilia Retreat. I have Book Lover's Bookshelf from Fuzzy Fox Designs. Deck the Halls, which was the Christmas 2019 Sal from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. Praise Him with Strings. That is the guitar from Lifted Spirit Studios on Etsy. I have Letters from Hogwarts for me, and I have Letters for Hogwarts for the baby. That's Cunning Cross Stitch. I have a library periodic table, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's just the elements and it spells library. I'm going to make it into a bookmark. I have Moonlit Owl, which is a Mill Hill kit. I have Read Now, and then I have A Year in Chalk December. And so I only have 10, and then I just repeated them. And the whole fun point of this is you get a 20-sided die and a regular 6-sided die. If you don't have those, like me, you can actually just search on Google roll dice, and then it will actually just populate it for you, and then you just click roll, and it rolls it for you. You can click both the 20 and you can click both the 6, and it will roll them together and give you your total. So that's what I meant when I said I will be basing everything I do on what I roll. So I've only finished a couple. I chose to do the medium version, or like normal. So the easy version would be you roll your 20 sided die, that tells you which whip you're working on. You roll your 6-sided die, whatever you roll, you take it by 100 and then by half. If you roll 3, it's 300 divided by 2, which is 150. That's the easy version. You have it. The medium version is same thing. Roll your 20-sided die. It came up number 2. Cool. You roll your 6-sided die. It comes up with 4. 4 times 100 is 400. You do 400 stitches on that whip. And then the hard one is you take it and then you double it. I rolled whip number 8. I rolled my 6-sided die and got a 5. 5 times 100 is 1,000. Nope. 5 times 100 is 500. 500 times 2 is 1,000. I knew where I was going with that. So yeah. I chose to just do the regular, so whatever I rolled times 100. And I've gotten a few. There is a monogamous version, but I'm not doing the monogamous version. I have not yet gotten a Scrooge card. I'm nervous about getting a Scrooge card. A Scrooge card would be they come and they like put a Scrooge in your comments that says like stop whatever you're doing, you roll your 6-sided die and stitch that number times 100 on anything you want. So if you get that and then you roll a 6, you then need to go put 600 stitches in one of them on top of what else you were doing. So for me, if it will load, oh no, why won't it pull up? There we go. No! Okay. So, I rolled a couple and worked on them. I went ahead and in my comments, I just went ahead and listed them 1 through 20 and then like left it blank for whenever I roll. That way in my head, I wouldn't get confused, if that made sense. So my very first roll actually was my number 1. and I rolled a 2. So I had to do 200 stitches on Australian Dragon. I did that. But then later on, I rolled 11 and rolled a 600 to put 600 stitches in my Australian Dragon. And I'm still working on that. And so, like I said, I still need 200 stitches on this to complete my 600. But I've made quite a bit of progress. Ta-da! So before, I had the wing and part of the body, like, to here. So now I've got most of the back stitching done, all of the body outline, and then I've started on this wing. So, yeah, and I still need 200 stitches on this for 600, and then technically he's done unless I somehow mistakenly roll him again, and that's going to be frustrating. Actually, the very first one I rolled was Read Now, which looks like an old-timey advertisement for it's like a poster for like books. It's really pretty. But in the picture she recommends like stitching it on like dyed fabric all in like really dark pewter and ecru, but I decided I didn't want to do that, and so I actually picked a bunch of colors and mapped out the different sections in what color I want them. I have started. That is 200 stitches, and I'm using, it's a really dark blue. It's a really dark navy, instead of like doing it all black. It's in the bag. But yeah, I just have a bag full of skeins of floss for the colors, and that is what I had left of Cafe au Lait. 16 count, Ada? So there was that. 200 stitches didn't even finish the bee. Like, that's crazy. So I did that. I did that actually while I was doing the extra credit for November, because they let us start the Whip Wrangler early, which was really nice. But then I also rolled my second one, which is Book Lover's Bookshelf from Fuzzy Fox Designs. I have not shown this, I don't think. This is for me. This is a... So there's this baby. I've been working on this since last summer. Yeah. I have to finish this shelf, and then I just have... it's not a big piece. It's really not. It's just taking a long time because there are a lot of color changes. So you know that, like, that's just a row of 2. And so yeah, like it's a lot of color changes and short little blocks and then back stitching. So, but yeah, like just this on its own was like 300 stitches, like getting all of the gray and then doing all the like blue and the back stitching down here and up along the sides, and then this was like the next 300. So yeah, coming along there. Oop. And then I think I want to backstitch like my initials and the year on like one of the books that it's like laying down here on the bottom, but there's books that lay down right here, and I don't remember what's up on the shelf up here, but I think I want to put like my initials and the date in like one of these. So yeah, I think that would be fun. I would do it really small. So that's all I've rolled right now. I'm really hoping to knock out those remaining 200 stitches on Australian Dragon today, and then figure out what I get to work on next, and then start working on it. And I got really excited when my mailman went by, because I ordered from 123 Stitch, and it was supposed to get here on Friday, and I get it, with the holiday and Black Friday and everything like that, it got delayed, and so it got pushed back. It would be here Saturday, and then it said it'd be delivered on Sunday. Obviously that didn't happen, and so I woke up this morning and checked it and said it was going to be delivered today, and that it was out for delivery, like on the mail truck, and he just drove by and stopped, and so I'm like, I'm gonna be going out there and checking, because I put in an order for. Did I order fabric? I think I ordered fabric. I did. Um, so I ordered a bunch of floss. I ordered a bunch of the colors that I will need to start the letters for Hogwarts. So that way I can start working on those. I'm not kidding myself, I'm not gonna have that done by the time baby girl is born, but I could at least have a good dent in it, and I'm really hoping that Whip Wranglers will help me do that. So I'm kind of actually hoping I get the higher number counts for those, at least the one for the baby girl. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I just gotta get it. I gotta do it times two. But the one for me can always come later. But I ordered more fabric because I actually decided to take a piece that I already owned and use it for one of the other letters from Hogwarts. It was a piece called Bramble, 36 count Edinburgh called Bramble, and I was gonna use it for my Harbingers, but then I decided it's the right size and the right count for letters from Hogwarts, and I decided I wanted to use that for mine and use the other piece I had originally bought for my sister. And so then I ordered a new piece of fabric for Harbingers, and I was waiting on that to arrive. So that should be here, so I'm like gonna go check my mailbox after this. And then finally, I did make progress on my Christmas deck the halls, which is why if it gets picked, ta-da! I finished this section, I finished the present, and then I got bake, and I got the bell, and then that blue is the start of the G for gingerbread. So really all that's left is to do the word gingerbread, to make the gingerbread man and a couple snowflakes and a candy cane, and it's done. So yeah, when that one gets picked and rolled, I'll put that into the Christmas winter sal, because that is a Christmas theme. It could also be childhood Christmas, blah 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 blah. So that's that. Please remember that the Semi-Sane group is a closed group, or at least a semi-closed group. They are taking applications, so you can ask to join, but you have to answer the questions, and you have to personally know someone in the group who can vouch for you to the admins. So, don't just say, I've been watching a lot of Flosstube, and a lot of Flosstubers have been mentioning it. That won't cut it. Unfortunately, you do have to have someone in the group that can say, yes, they're a good person. They'll play by the rules and they'll play the games. That's pretty much it. So if I do actually know you, I don't mind to vouch for you. I showed all my stuff. We're doing really good. I'm almost done. The only other thing I wanted to say is I obviously watched a lot of TV because I was sick and I didn't really go to work. I was taking care of myself, but I have watched several. I'm almost done with. It's a Netflix documentary on. It's a show, but it's a docu series on serial killers, and it's a Netflix original, I believe, and it's called I Am a Killer. There are 2 seasons. That is very fascinating to me. They go to prisons and they interview inmates who are on death row or who were on death row. That they were originally given the death penalty, and they interview them and get them to tell their story about the crime they committed, and then they go and interview the family and the victims and the victims' families, and it's very well done, and it's very good, and it's very compelling. I really really like that. But they made a spin-off show called I Am a Killer Released, or out on parole or something, where someone who was on death row has been released from prison, and they follow him around for a 3-part series. I have not started that yet, but I'm gonna watch that. I also watched a few episodes of Hoarders because that is my guilty pleasure. I don't know about you. It freaks my husband out, which I totally get, but he likes to make fun of me, that I'm cluttery and stuff. Right now you can't see it, but there is quite a bit of clutter around my desk right now. But And he'll always be like, it's kind of a mess, and it kind of freaks him out. But then I just pull up Hoarders, and I'm like, at least I'm not that bad. And that's terrible, but it just, I love watching the show, and I love to see the process, and they get in there, and it is compelling, and they try to help these people, but it's really just my guilty pleasure is what it comes down to. I just enjoy watching it. And we started, we're really behind because I know the second season starts in January, but my husband and I just started watching Prodigal Son. It's on Fox. It's really good. It's really good. It's the main character, he's a profiler, and he works with the NYPD to solve murders and crimes. He's a consultant with them. He got fired from the FBI. You find that out in the very first episode. But the plot twist is that his dad is a notorious serial killer. So he like has to carry all this weight on his shoulders of being the son of a serial killer and knowing that people are going to treat him differently or not trust him because of his background. And yeah, he's a little insane. I mean, who wouldn't be? And so it definitely bounces back and forth between like him trying to figure out what happened in his childhood and like figuring out his dad's cases and his dad's psychopathy and dealing with his own like mental crises, but then also trying to solve these murders and boom, 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 boom. Like it's really good. We're on like episodes. We watched a lot last night. Oh my gosh. We were up way too late last night watching this show. I want to say we watched like 3 or 4 episodes. So we're on like episode 7 now. 7 or 8. We're almost halfway through, and we've only been watching it for 2 days. And I'm not gonna lie, I watched the first 5 episodes by myself. I texted him after like the first one, and like halfway into the second one, I was like, "Hey, you should watch this show with me." And then and he agreed. And then I told myself to stop watching them so I could watch it with him. And then I continued to watch it, and so I watched all of the episodes on the first disc. He doesn't know. If he watches this, he's gonna know. Sorry, honey. I love you. But yeah, so that's where we're at. I'm gonna leave it there. I wanted to keep this video short, so short-ish for coming back. But thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a great week, a great life. Enjoy your stitching, enjoy your reading, and just have fun. Be yourself and take care. I'll talk to you later.